Hi there, I'm Lucille.
And I'm Leanne.
Welcome to Love and Light, where we talk all things life with our foundation rooted in Jesus.
Just two friends sharing their thoughts, opinions, and experiences. Join us as we take this journey together, exploring life.
Today we'll be speaking about the modern woman, focusing on modern versus traditional women, our definition of what a woman is, and God's definition. We can all agree that the role of a woman has changed throughout the years. And if you think about the modern woman versus the traditional woman, there's a couple of differences. So what is your opinion on, society's definition of a woman or a modern woman versus the traditional woman?
So the modern woman is now seen as the one that does it all. That's how society puts her. She's the wife, the mother, the CEO, which is a great expectation for women compared to what the traditional woman had, where she had to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen and wasn't allowed to follow her passion, to actually have a job. She was expected to be the homemaker.
Yes.
So society, as much as it sometimes feels like pressure for some people, it's given women the opportunity to say, I can be now what I want to be.
Yes.
Whatever it is. If I want to work, I can work. If I want to be a stay-at-home mom, I can be the stay-at-home mom. Or if I want to do all three, why not? And nobody now looks at women as much and goes, oh, but why is she doing that? Who does she think she is that she can? When women want to I think now the pressure that women get is the stay-at-home moms get but why aren't you working? Don't you know you're not supposed to depend on a man?
Yes.
So I think the way it's now changed, it's gone the other way. Now you look at women and go, but why aren't you doing anything for yourself?
Don't you think that a lot of criticism comes from women against other women? But I also think apart from, women criticizing women, it's also society's standards, like you said, being the CEO, the mom, juggling a job, juggling a career, juggling a full-time, job at home, because with kids.
It is a full-time job.
Don't you think that, having all of that wrapped into one package and being the it mom kind of also puts a lot of pressure on women today, because it's almost like you feel like you have to achieve a certain level to be seen as, but she's got everything together, It almost feels like you can't have a kid or have a bad day with a kid and then, that you almost expect it to feel like you
Superwoman.
have, literally superwoman. So the kids has to be perfect, right? You can't have an off day. No. At work, you can't have an off day. Right? Chasing your dreams, you can't have a bad day. It almost feels like you're put up on a pedestal where you have to have your
everything together.
You
do, and I do think that society has put that pressure on women. I think that women just get pressure no matter what we decide to do, whether we want to do it all or do nothing. It's either way we're gonna get that pressure of you either not doing enough or you're doing too much, because then the people are saying you're not spending enough time with your kids if you're doing the too much, you're working all the time. People don't just actually allow women to just go. In fact, also, like you said, women judge women so badly. And we see it on TikTok where women judge and comment, like, why are you as a woman doing this? Yes. Who said you can do that? Why do you think you can do that? And I do think women bring each other down so badly. We already have so much pressure of trying to keep up with men in the, in career spaces, that when women bring each other down, it's like, no, we're supposed to be, because
we're supposed to be in this together.
Exactly, because we know the pressure and we know how hard it is to juggle being the wife, the mother, the CEO, the boss, the whatever. We should be the ones going, I got you. I'm going to help you. Let me build you up to be what you want to be. Instead of going, why do you think you can do that? I mean, who gave you the right to do that? So I do think society has put that extra pressure now on women, now that we don't have to be the traditional woman and staying at home. I also think that society puts a lot of what women deserve. Like, as a woman, this is what you should deserve.
Yeah.
This is what you're allowed to have. I mean, I was watching a clip of something that Tyler Perry said about what black women think and why they're single and whatever. And I'm going, who gives people the right to say what we deserve? You know, as a woman, I should
you can't dictate me what I deserve.
Exactly. I must
How does
set
that
the
make
standard.
sense?
So society does, and we always look at these high figures, celebrities, and you go, that's what a woman should be. But we forget that those people have people helping them. The everyday woman doesn't have a team of people behind her, managing the kids, managing her diary.
Yes.
We have to do that on our own. But stop giving women so much flack for trying to handle it on their own.
You know, what you said when you said it's kind of almost the opposite now, where back then women were expected to stay at home, have kids, look after the kids, and, you know, the male is the breadwinner, he's the provider. And now it's kind of a woman, you need to have a job, you need to have a career, you need to have kids, you need to have a husband, you need to have this, you need to have that. And that obviously comes with its own pressures. And I think it's great that women are afforded these opportunities to be all of these things. But I also kind of think, so then what about the single moms, right? Because that in its own is also, I mean, that's a full-time...
Because you have no one helping you.
I can't imagine having to be a single parent and still have a job on top of it. And, you know, having both sides working perfectly. So I think women need to understand, or we need to realize that we don't have to put each other down in order to make ourselves feel better. Because I think a lot of the time what happens is we get so caught up in our own insecurities that we project that onto somebody else because it's going to make us feel better. So if
they're doing worse than us, so that's correct.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I know I don't have my things together, but at least I'm not as bad as Leanne, you know?
Yeah.
So I really feel like women should, because I mean, in the work context, in a professional context, it's so hard for a woman to compete with a man in that industry.
Already.
You know, we have to fight for equal opportunities. And I mean, when we talk about equal opportunities, we're not, I want to be a 10-pound man.
No.
That,
I just want to be paid.
No, we're talking about cerebral equality. But I think, how do you then, or what is your definition of a woman? Taking into consideration, you know, how the roles have changed from traditional to modern. What is your personal definition of a woman?
It's become, a woman is what she wants to be. That is
girl.
you know, I no longer put pressure on it. It's what you as an individual, a woman wants to be. And that you have the right to be whatever it is that you want to be. Because I've
That was so
decided
good.
that this is who I am. I don't want anyone coming back to me and saying, you can't be it.
Yeah.
And that for me is where it's just become whoever she wants to be.
Nice. Yes, like, I think that was so profound.
You know? Yeah, sometimes I've got some wisdom there, you know?
Girl. But I mean, you can't top that, because for me, right, if I think about what a woman is, it's who she is. It's not who she is according to somebody else. And a lot of the time we under so much pressure from the outside to be a certain way. I know I didn't watch the Barbie movie, right?
Yeah, me neither.
But the actress that plays Ugly Betty, she has a monologue in one of the scenes in the Barbie movie, and she speaks about how, you know, you have to want kids, but not talk about your kids.
Yes.
You have to love your kids, but not bring them up in every conversation. But you have to have a job, but you also have to have enough time to run your household. But then you also have to want to be ambitious. So, and that's I know that specific monologue was trending for so long because it sums up what we as women have to face on a daily basis. And I don't think that most or all of it is intentional. You'll find that in some contexts, it's just maybe the person or that, male individual is trying to motivate you, but it's coming out the wrong way.
That you're not doing enough.
So it's coming out as, but you're not doing. It's almost like, when you're feeling emotional and someone says, but just calm down.
Yeah.
Don't tell me to calm down when
that's the worst
allow me to
line.
feel my feelings. And it's exactly in this, allow me to be who I am. I don't have to be who I am according to your definition. Because now I'm going to sit there with a checkbook and be like,
Did I get this right today?
do I work out? Yes. Okay. But I also mustn't be too
Skinny
athletic.
or too too
But I must be
toned.
skinny, but I mustn't be too skinny. I must have a good figure, but I must have kids. And after I have kids, I need to automatically,
It's so much pressure that is not necessary. And I think the society also judges the woman that has decided,
Yes.
I don't want kids.
Yes.
Because not having kids is like what makes you think you can't have kids?
Why?
There's so much
you
pressure
should have kids.
on. So society puts that much pressure on a woman to be what they
Perfect.
But we always judge the woman that goes, but I don't want those things. And then she's looked at as the
How
the
dare
weird
you.
one.
Yes. You're almost like an outcast.
Yeah,
Like,
because how dare you
because
not
then we have
want
to shunt
that?
you, because how do you not want that? Yeah. So, okay, looking at your definition, right? I also think a lot of my definition of what a woman is comes from seeing my mother and my aunts and just being, growing up around these individuals who they're strong women. Yes. They have their own independence. But they grounded. They hold the home together. And for me, that's what I think a woman is, and that's the woman that I aspire to be, is, strong and caring, but nurturing at the same time, but also not taking everything and anyone's don't do this, do that, and being independent, but also being able to depend on somebody else and allowing that person to depend on you and setting good examples. And I'm not saying that you don't make mistakes,
No.
but learning from those mistakes and doing better, because I found that I've got a lot of nieces, right? And they look up to you.
Yes.
So that runs in my mind, and I'm always thinking about, okay,
If I do this, they're watching
you
me.
know, so what would I rather have them focus on? Do I want them to see me as this, or do I want them to see me as this? And I've kind of built my definition around that, because I've been exposed to it. And I mean, I see single moms do it all the time, and I'm like, yes, you see, you can do it. But she's not doing it because somebody expects her to do that. It's who she is. It's the very embodiment of who and what she stands for. So, yeah, I just feel like it doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to be to the book. It's who you are and who you want it to be.
No, I can agree with that 100%, because I've watched my mom be a single mom. And she is my role model like you cannot believe. And that's where my definition comes of, to be who she is, because my mom never allowed anyone basically to tell her what she can and what she can't do. And the woman that she is today, I'm going, some days I go, wow, you did that.
Yes.
You did that.
Yes.
So definitely, it's the people around us definitely influence who we become as women and what we do and how we do it. I agree with that.
So what would you think, or what would you say then is God's definition of a woman?
I actually have a verse for that, which I want to read.
Okay.
Because I think this will put us nicely on what God actually has to say about us. Proverbs 31, verse 10 to 17. How hard it is to find a capable wife. She is worth far more than jewels. Her husband puts his confidence in her, and he will never be poor. As long as she lives, she does him good and never harm. She keeps herself busy making wool and linen cloth. She brings home food from out of the way places, as merchant ships do. She gets up before daylight to prepare food for her family and to tell her servant woman what to do. She looks at land and buys it. With the money she has earned, she plants a vineyard. She's a hard worker, strong and industrious. And I mean, it goes on to explain more. But I think what God is basically saying here is that the woman is capable to do it all.
Yes.
That's what I get from what God is saying.
Yes.
You know, he puts so much value on who we are as women. And I would tell every female, go and read Proverbs 31 from verse 10. It will give you...
And read it with understanding.
Yes.
Don't read it because
You want to say you're right.
Yes, you know, or you wanna nitpick and take things out of context. Because what I find is you'll read a verse like that and you'll take it literally.
Like they're telling us to go plant and sow, and that's not what God means.
And you must wake up early and make food, but then when is he gonna make food for me?
That's
no,
not
don't
what God
take it
is
out
saying.
of context. Look at it and understand what is being said. And I think that you summed it up beautifully, where you said God's saying that you can do it all. What I get from that is she's humble, she's knowledgeable, she's hardworking, she's someone who you can confide in. She's someone who you can depend on. But she's independent in her own. She makes decisions that's best for her family. She puts their needs above her own needs.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that if you're a woman, you have to always put your husband's needs before your own. But think about it in a context where you are equal.
Yes.
I'm not saying that if you give 50% or if he gives 50%, you must only give 10% because you can't be above him.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't own you.
No.
No, we're not saying that. I'm saying that read it with open...
That understanding that God
Yes.
is saying we are capable to do whatever we want to do. He puts so much value on the purpose of a woman. That a woman is there not only to support the man, but that she's capable of making her own decisions for whatever she needs in the time. That she doesn't need a man to make those decisions for her. Which I think also then gives single people the understanding to know that it's okay if you're single right now. If you eventually want a husband,
That's
go for
fine,
it.
but
If
just
you
because
don't,
you're single, that doesn't mean
it
that
doesn't
you're
mean you
less than.
can't.
Yes.
So it's also understanding that, and that for me is what's so amazing about God's definition for a woman, is that I love that he gives women such value, such high, he puts us on such a pedestal, and he goes, that's my daughter, and she can do whatever, and she will do whatever.
So, is there any final thoughts that you want to share with us on the 3 things that we just spoke about, concerning a modern woman?
For me, it would be the woman that you want to be. Don't, and I know society is going to put pressure on you, but don't allow that to change your dreams, your aspirations as a woman. You are what God has made you. And for me, that would be all of it. Don't look at what happened in the past about what a traditional woman was or what the society expects you to
now
be.
you feel like you have to go against
And change. No, be the woman that God is growing you to be.
Yes, I can agree. I mean, don't have this mindset where I'm not going to do it because society thinks that I should do it, so I'm not going to do it, or I'm not going to do it because why must I if he can for himself? Don't, it's kind of like saying don't cut off your nose. Yeah, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Yeah. Don't be petty. Just embrace who you are and live your truth, right? Be your most authentic self, but do it in such a way where it's fulfilling for you, and like you said, it's there, it's hard evidence in the Bible that you can do it all. You can. And if you don't have a man, or if you don't have kids and you don't want kids and you don't want a husband, that's okay. That doesn't make you less than, that doesn't make you an outcast, that doesn't make you are you
the weird one on that?
It doesn't. It's if that's who you are, that's beautiful for you. And yes, man, I think that was nice.
It was. I love knowing that women can stand together and support each other.
Yes, I want to say though that as women, I really do feel like we need to come together, man. I don't like this of putting somebody else down to make yourself better. I really feel like as women, we're already fighting
So many
other things. We need to know that as a woman, I've got another woman's back. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Love and Light. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a comment on the platform that you have been watching on. We'd love to hear what you thought about today's episode.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe and give us a follow on our social media at Love and Light Pod. Until next week, have a blessed week.